Welcome to the Happy Black Woman Podcast, where we're on a mission to empower women to transform their lives through personal development and entrepreneurship. We bring you all the information, inspiration, and motivation you need to create a life of happiness, success, and freedom. Now, please welcome your host, the happy Black woman herself, Rosetta Thurman.
Hello to all my happy Black women. This is Rosetta, and I am back with another episode of our Happy Black Woman podcast. I am here with Teri Johnson, better known as the Travelista, as so many of you may know her as. And I have been hearing so much about her, and I always tell a story about how I meet my guests, and Teri and I have never met. So it's just she's one of those people that everyone keeps saying, Rosetta, she should be on the podcast. You know, have you seen her and all the places she's gone and her videos and everything? So we reached out, and now Teri's here, and now we get to chat. So welcome, Teri.
Thank you so much for having me. I just love what you're doing. I love it. And I'm glad that I was finally able to schedule some time so we can chat and share and inspire people.
Yes. Well, thank you. I think that you qualify as a happy Black woman, Teri. What did you say?
You know what? I would have to say that is like a perfect description of who I am.
Yes.
Life is too short not to be happy. It's just too short.
Exactly. Beautiful. Well, I want to dive right in because there's so many people I know who have watched your videos and are so inspired by the life that you're living. So tell us, how did you become Teri the Travelista?
Yeah, you know, I started traveling at a really young age. I think the first time I was 12 years old when I left the country. I went to Mexico with my Spanish class when I was in junior high. And that kind of set me on a path of discovery, and it just sparked my curiosity to see more of the world and to hear other languages and to learn how to speak other languages and to explore culture and history and design and art. And since then, I've really been excited to know more and just being a student of the world. So, but I guess really it was when I was 17 years old and I was living in Spain. I was an exchange student, and I was living in País Vasco, in the Basque country in the northern part of Spain. And I just lived my life as a local Spanish girl for the summer and spent my time on the beach and did everything that the Spanish people did. And I remember coming home and I said, Mom, I'd like to have some wine with my dinner. And she looked at me like I was crazy. I'm 17. She was like, what? I said, well, that's in Spain. I was drinking Rioja with dinner. Uh-huh. And I was like, I told her, I was like, you created this. You're the one who sent me to Spain. Mm-hmm. So I think travel. My world was open to travel young, and I've kind of just not stopped. And I love exploring and all the stuff that I learn, and that I'm able to come back and share and inspire people to go and have their own adventures and see the world and do cool stuff.
Mm-hmm. Well, I love that you started out with, the exchange experience. I always had wished that I could do that. I heard about it, but I never got to do it.
It's not too late.
I know, right?
You could be a grown-up exchange
I could be
student.
an adult exchange student.
Exactly.
Well, I love what you said about being a student of the world, because I just find that I learn so much every time I go somewhere new. And it's not the kind of learning that you can get from a book or from reading a blog or listening to a podcast. It's really something you have to go out and experience for yourself.
Yeah, no, totally. And, even if there's a lot of people who, put up these false barriers. Oh, I can't do that. I don't have anyone to go with. And they're making excuses as to why they cannot, versus just deciding that, you know what, that's what I'm going to do. And when you decide that you're going to do something and you visualize yourself doing it and you visualize yourself being there and making it happen, then, miracles happen, and the universe will just, next thing you know, wow, this is what I dreamt of. So that's why I just tell people, if you really want to do something, don't block yourself.
Right. Exactly.
Just stay open. You never know who you're going to meet. You never know who has a cousin or a friend who has a place for you to stay and who's going to take you over. You just never know. So you just have to stay open.
Yeah, I love that. Stay open. You're already dropping nuggets on us, but I want to know, how did you get from, traveling on your own to like building a brand around travel. There's so many women listening who they want to travel, but they're also entrepreneurs. And, it's like, man, they look at your life and it's like, boy, wouldn't that be nice? But we're actually speaking in realities here. And so I want you to tell people, what was your reality? How did you get from that passion to being Travelista Teri? And now, that's what you do so much of.
Yeah. So when I first started, I started with a friend of mine and we started a brand called Travelista TV. And we decided that we wanted to put ourselves on TV because no one looked like us who was on TV, who was traveling the world, who spoke multiple languages, who loved traveling abroad. And we knew that people like us were out there, but we just didn't see anyone like us doing it. And so we decided, hey, you know what? Let's produce our own show. So I had a little bit of background in TV production, very small, like from college. Like I had like a cool little, side job producing. And yeah, so we invested in a camera and some microphones. And every time we had any vacation time from our corporate jobs, we would be on a plane jet setting across the Atlantic somewhere and filming ourselves. And so we put ourselves online. I think the very first time we put ourselves online was maybe in like 2007 and maybe 2007, 2008. And then we started getting recognized by different brands, and we did some work with Ford, where we were the producers, executive producers of everything that we did.
Wow.
So Ford, Honda, Toyota, Choice Hotels. And since then I've worked with Waldorf Astoria, Marriott. Yeah. And so since then I've worked with a bunch of other brands, some big, some small, some more luxury focused, some very niche. And it's been a fun and enjoyable ride. But I think more than anything, what people need to understand is that we weren't just like girls who thought we were cute and wanted to be on TV and wanted to put ourselves on the internet. We learned the business. So we were producing. I ended up enrolling in the New York Film Academy. I took classes at the School of Visual Arts. Mm-hmm. And so I learned how to produce. I learned how to direct. I learned how to host. I learned how to write. I learned how to edit. So we were responsible from everything from pre-production, production, post-production, distribution, all of that. So we learned every single part of the business in order to create video content, get it out there, deliver, formats. There's so many little nuances and things to learn. But that's, I think, how we had an advantage because we controlled and owned every single part of our content. Every single piece of it, we owned it. And so now, like a lot of the content that we've created over the years, we're still making money on. Mm-hmm. We have these distribution deals in Europe. I have another distribution deal with a company in Ireland. So my stuff is in a lot of different places and around the world.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I love this story because it really started with a passion that you had. And I think a lot of times, especially as Black women, we tend to make things harder than they have to be. And not to say that your journey was not, was easy, but it's kind of like you made a choice and you just took all the steps that you would need to take to have that become your reality. And some people are probably listening. I know you ladies listening are like, well, is it that easy? Like you just decide you want to share your life with the world and get paid for it and it happens? Well, not overnight, but it can.
No, but not overnight. Yeah. And exactly. It's not overnight. And yeah, it's just, it's, I'm not going to say it is that simple, but it kind of is. And like I said, the very first time we put ourselves online was in 2007. That was 10 years ago.
Yeah. I love that. It's, that you're saying, look where we started and look where we are now.
Right. Mm-hmm. So it's, if that's the thing, if you really, really, really want to do something, then do it. But if you're just like, I want to do this today. I don't really know if I want to do that. It's too hard. I didn't think it was going to be that hard. Mm-mm. There's no no. But you have to know in your heart. You have to have that conviction and that clarity to say, this is what I'm doing. I'm in it for the long haul. Mm-hmm. It's not going to be easy, or not. It's not going to be easy, but there might be roadblocks and there might be setbacks, and it might not happen as quick as I want it to happen. But if you know and you visualize, I'm a really, really big visualizer. Mm-hmm. Most people who meet me, they're just like, whoa, Teri, that's crazy. Because you said that you were going to do that and then you did it. And I'm like, yeah. Mm-hmm. And I kind of don't understand when people don't get it.
Yeah.
It's like if you say you want to do it and you put it out there in the universe and you're excited about it and you talk about it and you get ideas and you get inspiration and you love just kind of surrounding yourselves with things that inspire you and they're going to help you get there, then it's almost like, well, that's supposed to happen.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because I've set it up this way.
Yeah.
And I'm doing the best that I can and trying to give and trying to share and trying to create and inspire. So as long as you stay open and you give openly and you share openly, that comes back. So when people have a clear vision about what they want to do, where they want to go, how they want to do it, then I think it's just that simple. Then do it.
Hmm. I agree. Okay. Well, I love getting guests on the show who just back up what I've been saying. So, every episode is an opportunity for all of our listeners to either understand or be reminded of their power that they have to really create their ideal lives. So Teri, I know that you probably get this question all the time, so I'm not going to ask you what was your favorite place to travel to, but
thank you. Because the answer, Rosetta, the answer changes depending on the day.
Right, exactly.
Some days I'm like, ooh, but yeah, it's one of those questions that I get asked it all the time. I will say one of my favorite places that I want to spend a lot more time is Bali. And I'll tell you why. Bali is an island. It's a country that it is animist. And so people are like, what is animist? So these people believe that everything has a living soul. Everything has a soul. So from the stray cats on the street to the birds flying, they have love and appreciation for everything. And when you exist in a society where the people believe and love and it's like there's just so much positivity and love and giving and sharing, then it's like amazing how you just feel, and it's like there's calmness and this like serenity that exists there, and you just feel love energy. And I like being in a place like that. Never been to a place where I felt it so strongly. And I feel like we have a lot to learn from the Balinese. And yeah, I'd love to just spend a lot more time there and bring some of that back and share it with the world.
Yeah.
And they have the frangipani flower. It's everywhere. And when the wind blows, the smell of frangipani, if you've been to Hawaii, it's similar to the plumeria flower. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's a very beautiful floral, like a white floral. And it perfumes the air. So, yeah.
Yes, I love that flower. I so agree with you about Bali because it reminds me a lot of Hawaii. Hawaii is like my spiritual place of where I feel like I'm always at home. But Bali was very similar to that in terms of the energy for me. And so I totally get what you're saying. And I always feel the same way. I probably should, spend more time here. I like to spend a couple more weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, learn and share. And yeah, because I mean, that's the thing about travel. A lot of people say, oh, I've been to so and so this many countries. And it's just like, check, 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 check. Who cares about the checks? Who cares about the number of countries? I actually kind of stopped talking about that because that was like something that everyone, oh my gosh, you've been to 66 countries. I'm like, yeah, but it's not really about the number of countries. It's about what did I gain? What did I learn? What happened in those places that transformed me, that made me a better person? And if you can't answer that question about if you've been to 90 something countries, then that's the problem.
Yeah. Yeah. I heard the term, what was it, slow travel a while back. And I really love that. Like when I was first starting my business, I quit my job and I was like, man, I'm not where I want to be financially, but I want to travel. So how am I going to do this? And so I'm like, I'll just backpack it. I'll, do the hostel thing. And I thought, man, I could stay longer if I spend less money. And I just love the idea of maybe going to less places, but being able to spend more time there so you really have an experience of it. So actually, the question I was going to ask you is, what was a place that you've gone to that surprised you? Like, I know there are places where you've seen the pictures and the videos or the TV shows or read the guidebooks, and there's stuff in there. But then when you get there, it's like, whoa, I didn't know it was going to be like this. What was a place that you've gone to that was like that?
Oh, this is a good question. I think.
Well, I'm going to say for me,
okay,
when I went to Santorini, the island of Santorini in Greece, I did not even plan on going there. I was going to go to Athens because I'd heard about Athens. I knew there was the ruins and all the things, the tourist things I wanted to do. But then I was at a hostel and someone said, oh, have you been to Santorini? I was like, no, what is that even? I don't even know what that is. And so I just quickly Googled it. the pictures on Wikipedia look cool. And so I booked, the trip that night to go. And I went there and it was the most beautiful place. And it was just awe inspiring. And I didn't expect the beauty. I didn't expect to enjoy it so much. I didn't expect the beach to be as beautiful as it was with the black sand. And I can't wait to go back there. But
yeah, I actually like Santorini more than I like Mykonos. So we ended up spending kind of like you, because everyone knows Mykonos. It's like fun, it's party, and it's, it's packed, and it's just like that jet set spot. But Santorini was a little bit calmer and was smaller. But I felt like it was more my speed. And I just loved the style. I felt like it was a little more elegant.
Exactly.
And I was like you. I loved, but I don't know if I was so surprised by Santorini. I didn't know how beautiful it was and how much I was going to cry when I left.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Another place, I just got back from Costa Rica, and Costa Rica is a very beautiful tropical destination, and I've been there 3 times. This last time was my 3rd time. Now, every time you travel to a country, you see something different, or I try at least to see something different. This time, wow. Like, out of all the times I've been, this was, I would say, by far the most kind of eye-opening to, how incredibly beautiful and luxurious a place like Costa Rica could be. Of course, there's a tropical and there's beautiful birds, and you see that, and the monkeys, and it's just like this beautiful tropical place. But I saw it from a different perspective. It's a second world country, so it's not like, ooh, beautiful, like jet set. But there is that element, and I don't know, I'm kind of into it because price wise, it's not astronomical, but you're getting that same feel. And you're getting that same experience in a place that is even more lush and beautiful and tropical than you can ever imagine. So I'm kind of feeling Costa Rica right now. I want to stay in Central America and see what's going on, because I like what they're doing.
Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah, that's been on my list for a while. So cool. I know we could talk about destinations all day, but I do want to ask you, with all of your jet setting and that you're also an entrepreneur. I mean, this is not your only business. I know you're sharing earlier that you have a fragrance business as well. How do you stay focused and productive while you're traveling and running 2 businesses and producing content? Like, what are the tools and strategies that work for you to keep you on track?
I think with running my candle company, I have the Harlem Candle Company, luxury home fragrances inspired by the Harlem Renaissance. The only way that I would be able to run that business, constantly stay in product development and work on the branding and the messaging and getting into more stores, the only way that I could do that is if I have balance. And travel gives me balance. But it's also so much fun, and it's also work. So I'm working, I'm having fun, and I'm doing what I enjoy. So for me, balancing the two is not that hard. It's really not that hard, because at the end of the day, I'm doing kind of the same thing. I'm inspiring people to purchase candles and to let scent take them on a journey. And then with my travel content, I'm inspiring people to travel to these places and to have great experiences and to create lasting memories. My end goal is the same. Enjoy life. Life should smell good. Okay, that's part of life. So I'm doing the same thing. It's lifestyle. It's fun. It is relaxing. It's calming. It can transform you. It can take you to a new place. You can travel through scent. So I'm doing the same thing.
Yeah, beautiful.
And it's fun to be able to combine 2 passions in these careers that I've built for myself.
Yeah, that is definitely a blessing. I mean, if it worked the first time to follow your passion and you ended up with that career, why not? Just keep doing it, because you know you have the power to create whatever you want. So I just love what you said about the travel being, the piece that keeps you on track, because I found a lot of times at least when I first started my business, that I was just hunkered down in front of the computer all the time. And then after about a year, I was like, wait a minute, I quit my job so I could be free and travel, but I'm not traveling and I don't feel free. So there's something wrong here in that, being able to get away and see the world does rejuvenate me for the other work that I need to do as an entrepreneur, as a business owner. So I totally get what you're saying with that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's like, yeah, I feel like I come up with some of my most creative and best ideas on a beach or not in New York City, like when I just leave the city.
Mm-hmm.
And I think another thing, I live in one of the most high energy, fast paced, nonstop cities in the world. So I think anyone living in New York City has to travel because this place can consume you. I mean, it can eat you up. They call it the concrete jungle for a reason.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Just I spend a lot of time in Central Park when I'm in town. It's really close to my house, but just being in nature and just, watching the butterflies makes me happy.
Mm-hmm. I love it.
Because New York is a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm originally from Texas.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't grow up I grew up with space, with backyard and a front yard and plenty of land and cows and deer and things, animals and nature. So I kind of need that when I travel to kind of be reconnected with the earth and the beautiful things God has given us in this world.
Mm-hmm. 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 Well, here's a question that we get all the time. So there are women who are listening that want to travel and they have their bucket list of places that they want to go to. Maybe they want to go to Bali. Maybe they want to go to Costa Rica. But there are all these reasons why they feel like they can't go. Who's going to watch the kids? How can I take off work for a week or two? And what if there's no one to go with? Like you said, like for someone who's inspired listening to you and watching you, and she does want to take that first solo trip and have that experience, how can she get started?
I would say if she does want to take a solo trip, choose a destination. Even if you know someone who knows someone, it's always good to have at least 1 or 2 points of contact in the place where you're going to go. Or even, in a city who can give you some sort of guidance and direction as to a great neighborhood to stay if you're going to do Airbnb and you never know, because when you put it out there, one thing that I think a lot of other cultures are a lot better at than we are is just being a host. And you're coming from America, stay with us. And you'll find yourself getting a lot of invitations, or oh no, you must come and dine with us. Oh, she's in town, and you almost become like their kind of an instant friend. And I found that this happens in a lot more countries versus America. So I do encourage, if you really want to travel to a place, just try to find someone. If you know anyone from there, talk to them about the place, because you never know how your experience can change by connecting with locals. And my personal opinion is having the more local experiences, the better.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to go to a place and just spend all my time on the beach and doing the touristic stuff and staying at the resort. I like to see the place and I like to experience it through the most kind of authentic experiences, which locals and people who live there can provide. So I would say, first try to connect with someone who's there. Figure out the best time that's going to work for your schedule. So if you have a full-time job, it's always great to look at a holiday, look at, Labor Day is coming up. Okay. Well, try to schedule something. If you want to do a 6 or 7 day trip, schedule it where you have to take less time off, or when no one's really going to miss you. Or do it also around the time where if there are kind of like cyclical things that happen in your business, don't do it don't travel during a time that it's going to be super high intensity. And if you're gone, they're going to miss you and be blowing up your phone all the time. Go when you know that you're going to, be able to relax and just disconnect.
Mm-hmm.
As far as saving money, travel is not it's not the cheapest, but there are so many ways to do it economically and very smartly. There's all sorts of hacker fairs that you can take advantage of. I have a couple of friends who have mastered those ways to save money when they travel. So follow these people on their Facebook pages and Instagram. There's, if you were just type in, I think, travel hacks, or maybe not travel hacks, but flight glitches, and just see what pops up, and you'll be able to kind of understand how that whole thing works. And, you kind of have to stay on top of it. But there's so many people who take advantage of it. And if you're not a part of some of these communities, like a lot of the Black travel clubs, follow them on their social media so you can see and you can take advantage of. Because I feel like one thing I really do feel like we're so much more on top of it than everyone else.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a lot of friends, white, black, all different nationalities, but the only people I see who are sharing these travel glitch information, they look like us.
Mm-hmm,
So,
right. Get some travel friends. That's a great
yeah.
tip so that you can definitely hear about these opportunities when they come up. I love a good travel glitch or deep discounted sale. I went to Bali one year for $500 round trip. And I was like, I kind of like this. Let me
Yep.
sign up for all the deals, to make sure that I don't miss another one. But it all starts with that decision.
Yeah.
Of where you want to go, talking to people, like you said, and just really making a plan to do it.
And if you are going to travel with someone, you better get the right travel buddy, because everyone is not a good person to travel with. She could be your best friend, but you don't travel well together. Because if someone is always hungry, and if you're not, that's a problem. Because if someone's always hungry and always wants to stop for food, and you're less focused on that, you just want to have the funnest adventures, or you want to shop, or you want to prioritize. You have to find that person who's going to be most compatible with the things that you like.
Yeah.
So you're not frustrated. Or if you know that she likes this and you like that, you got to have a compromise where it's not only your agenda and only her agenda, that there's a compromise.
Yeah.
And then you may discover, hey, you know what? I never even thought I would like this. I'm so glad you exposed me to that. People who complain a lot, don't travel with them. Because if they complain a lot now, here in America, where the things are great, you can get any kind of food you want. You can get this, you can get that, you can get this, you can get that. And if they're complaining here, guess what? When you go international and the hot water don't work, they're going to be complaining.
So
they're going to complain about the food. Do not travel with people who complain.
Yeah, it is so true, especially if you're more on the positive side. People are like, oh, I'll take my best friend, but you know how she is. So I love that advice.
Yeah.
Teri, I always ask my guests about resources that have inspired them. So what is a book that you have read on your journey? And I know it's always hard to choose a favorite, but if you could share one that has inspired you or is inspiring you now as you walk your path.
The books I read when I have time to really just hunker down and read, they're more historical fiction. I love kind of going into these, I'm not going to say an alternate reality, but I like really being able to go back into a different time and into a different place. So there's a book called Island Beneath the Sea. This book is incredible. It takes place in 3 different countries, and it spans about a century, from maybe the 17 to the 1900s. Yeah, I guess the 17-ish to the maybe early 19th century. And it's a fascinating book that talks about a couple of generations of a family and how they came to, I don't want to spoil it because I have a tendency, when I talk about books, next thing you know, I'm like, oh, did I just tell you that?
Oh, don't spoil it. Don't make a spoiler. Island Beneath the Sea.
But Island Beneath the Sea by the author her name is Isabel or Elizabeth Allende. She's Chilean. So Island Beneath the Sea. The countries, it takes place in Haiti, takes place in Dominican Republic, and Louisiana.
Beautiful.
It's a really interesting story about kind of, Black, French, Creole, and how that all came to be.
Beautiful. I don't think that we've ever had a historical fiction book recommendation on the show. So thank you for expanding our horizons.
You're welcome.
So fitting for what you do. Finally, before you go, I just want to ask, what would be your number one piece of advice for that woman who wants to turn her passions into a business as you have? Not just once, but twice. She's at the beginning stages, though, maybe, 5-10 years from where you are now. And she is ready to get started, but she has that fear in her belly about, is this going to work? Can I really do this? What advice would you give to her?
My biggest piece of advice would be a couple of pieces of advice. Whatever you want to do, save money. So you should be saving now. If you know that you want to stop doing your day job and you want to go into entrepreneurship, or you want to create a brand, or you want to become an artist, or you want to do whatever those things are, save your money so you're not dependent and reliant on other people. So as long as you you saving your money means not going shopping all the time, not having the latest shoes, the latest outfit, your stuff from last summer is fine. Your stuff from the summer before is fine.
Mm-hmm.
So you're just not shopping. You decide, you know what? I'm not shopping. And I'm okay with that. And be okay with it. And don't feel like, oh, I really wish I would. You can't dwell on that because guess what? Your clothes are fine. Fashions have not changed dramatically to the point where you need to go shopping. So I would say stop shopping. Don't worry about having, the latest this, the latest that, and save your money. And you really kind of have to have a financial plan. You need to understand your finances. You need to understand how you're spending your money, where you can save money. If you are someone who goes to Starbucks every single day, learn how to make your own coffee. Guess how much money you can save.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to just be smart. So save so you're not dependent on anyone else. But then also like visualize. I know so many people are into creating vision boards. I've been creating vision boards my whole life and not even knowing that it was called a vision board. But create a vision and visualize and think, this is what I want. You might not know how you're going to do it, but if you know that this is something that you're super passionate about and it's just something that stays with you and you haven't let it go, and when that is, I think you like deep in your soul, this is really what I want to do. This is what I think I believe I can do.
Mm-hmm.
You have to just spend some time visualizing yourself doing it. Visualize yourself in that place. Visualize yourself on stage. Visualize yourself on television. Whatever it is, you have to see yourself in it. And I like to do, I practice, different visualization and meditation techniques, but one that I like to do, wait, am I going there? Okay. One that I really encourage people to do, and this is mostly when you have something in your life that you want to get rid of. But the thing is, if there's something in your life that is like that you feel is blocking you, the only way that you're going to get over that and through it is to get rid of it. And then the world opens up, and then you're able to just live in your greatness. So I tell people, so you close your eyes, get in a really comfortable, like seated position, and you breathe in. So imagine like breathing in for like 6 seconds, holding your breath for about 6 seconds. And what you're visualizing when you're breathing, and you're visualizing what it is in your life that you want. So I did this one year. I visualized myself signing the back of checks. This was back when people like wrote checks, but I visualized myself signing the back of checks and depositing checks into the bank. Mm-hmm. And then when I exhale, so you hold that and you just sign checks, sign the back of checks, sign the back. And that's what I visualized. On the exhale, I visualized I was in a relationship and it was just, I just was so unhappy. But I couldn't really see myself getting out of the relationship because I was just like, ugh. So on the exhale, I visualized the guy just rolling away like dust in the wind. Like, can you just go? Get out of my life. Just rolling away like dust in the wind. Mm-hmm. And that's what I visualized. Like I just want to be free from this relationship that is just like toxic and not good. And I visualized him rolling away. And eventually we broke up. It was amazing. And do you know, within 1 month, I was $30,000 richer, and I had no idea where that money was coming from. I got a spokesperson deal. I sold some stock and I didn't even realize that I had other shares that had been given to me by the company because it IPO'd that weren't even reflected in my statements. That was another 10 grand. I mean, money. But I visualized because I was like, I need money right now. And I visualized that money coming. So anyway, visualize, have a clear picture of what you want to do. And you got to spend time alone. I think so many people you don't spend enough time. Spend time alone, thinking, visualizing, but don't overthink. And you stay in the positive. Don't spend time alone and stay sad. You spend time being happy and talking to yourself. I talk to myself all the time. People must think I'm crazy, but I talk myself into things. I talk myself into being in a good mood. I talk myself into making sure this is going to be a great day. I talk myself into getting this deal. I talk myself into getting my candles into this store. And I just talk myself into it and I feel good. And I radiate and it works.
Yes, I love it. Thank you so much for sharing that.
You're welcome.
People say visualization, but you really just broke it all the way down for all of us listening, whether you are an entrepreneur or not. It works in so many different areas of your life. So thank you, Teri, for being with us.
You're welcome.
And let everybody know where they can go to stay in touch with you.
Absolutely. So I am Travelista Teri. That's travel, like travel, fashionista, Travelista, Teri. And I'm Travelista Teri on a bunch of social platforms, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and my website is travelistateri.com. And if you are interested in some of the most amazing, luxurious candles inspired by the Harlem Renaissance with expert perfumers scenting them, Harlem Candle Company. We are Harlem Candle Company on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and harlemcandlecompany.com. And if everyone likes discount codes, the code Harlem10 gives you 10% off of your online order. So you just got that. Harlem10, Harlem Candle Company. Mother's Day is coming up. I don't know when this podcast is going to be released, but you know what? Candles are always great gifts. So
they are.
There's always an occasion to burn a candle or buy a candle.
I agree. I have candles all over my office. And in fact, I light a candle and I visualize before I get on a sales call with a potential client. So they definitely work. So we will put all of those links that Teri shared about her, where you can find her and the resources and the book recommendation in the show notes on our website at happyblackwoman.com. So you can find her episode there and all the show notes. Teri, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure having you on the show.
You're welcome. Oh, I'm glad we finally were able to do this, and I absolutely loved it. And I love being able to share my journey and inspiring other people to do, the best that they can possibly do with what God has given them. So
yes, and you have inspired us. Thank you again. So ladies, there you have it. Teri the Travelista, you heard her story, you heard her inspiration, and now it's time for you to go and take action. In fact, I would love for you to come over to happyblackwoman.com, get involved with all the programs that we are offering, and get access to all of our previous podcast episodes. All you have to do is go to happyblackwoman.com and click on the tab that says podcast, and you can get Teri's show notes and listen to previous episodes. So we've given you a lot to work with, all for free, and I hope that you use it. Until next time, have a beautiful day, ladies. Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining us on the Happy Black Woman podcast. If you want all the show's notes from today's episode, go to happyblackwomanpodcast.com. Plus, we'll send you a copy of Rosetta's free life mapping workbook. We look forward to empowering you next time. And until then, do something this week that makes you happy.